and welcome. Tonight, Senate establishes 18-member committee to oversee the activities of River State Sole Administrator. House of Representatives asks security agencies to investigate and prosecute those responsible for the death of 16 northern travelers in Uromi, Edo State, on March the 27th. Federal High Court Abuja directs the prosecution of trial of Nnamdi Kanu to ensure all relevant documents and materials for trial are duly served on the defense team before being tendered in court.
And on business, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria rallies support for Nigeria First policy, says can boost GDP by 56%.
On sports news tonight, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun assures the upcoming National Sports Festival, tagged Gateway Games, will be a reference point in the history of Nigeria.
And from the nation's capital, Channels Academy and the U.S. government train media chief executive officers on alternative revenue strategies.
Tonight from the National Assembly, where the Senate has stepped in to tighten oversight in River State. An 18-member committee chaired by Senate Leader Opeyemi Bamidele has been set up to monitor the sole administrator's activities. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, announcing the move at plenary today, stressed the need for transparency within the committee's makeup, and it could be adjusted after further consultations. Our correspondent Gloria Umezuke reports.
After about 6 weeks of recess, lawmakers in the upper chamber resumed plenary, led by the president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio. As promised, the oversight of the administration of Rivers State under Vice Admiral Ibok Eteibas, retired, is prioritized on the day's agenda, and consequently, a committee is set up with no less than 18 members.
Let me also mention that there is need for us to have a committee to oversight the functions of the administrator of Rivers State and the Rivers State government under emergency rule. So the chairman of that committee will be Sir Distinguished Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele. So if they need to review, it will be after further consultation with our colleagues. But in the meantime, they have to get to work immediately.
Mr. Senate President,
in a motion sponsored by Senator Jimoh Ibrahim, the persistent security challenge and the need for a national summit takes center stage.
I want to say clearly that the language relied on by the military today are outdated because criminals also learn those languages and they are using them. It is imperative that empirical fact-finding mission, National Assembly Security Summit, is organized by these senates.
Arguments on the subject matter immediately became polarized as lawmakers cautioned against the demerits of convening another security summit after previous assemblies had produced summits with failed impact.
I don't believe that having security summit is the answer. Else, what we did in the past, what happened? All the recommendations are there and they are not implemented. We should call the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, the Chief of Defense Staff, and we'll sit with them here and discuss where is our Chicano aircraft, fighter jets. And you also recall, this Tucano was purchased by no less than $1 billion borrowed. But we can no longer use Tucano because they have signed a contract which limited the operations of this Tucano. If you know ab initio that this Tucano has limitations, I believe security summit is not the solution. It's much, much, much more than that.
Proponents, however, argued that fresh engagements have become imperative to support the military.
That we have provided solutions in the past and they have not worked or they have not been implemented. will not stop us from providing solutions.
Those in support that the Senate should be in the forefront of convoking a national security summit, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
By the same token, the lawmakers adopted a resolution to fast-track a bill proposing to regulate vigilante outfits and hunting activities nationwide. The proposed bill will also require hunters to report to the nearest police station when entering another state for hunting to enhance accountability and improve security. Now, before its adjournment, the Senate has resolved to peruse the report submitted by the Senate Committee on Finance on the 4 tax reform bills passed by the Senate in November 2024. The lawmakers are now expected to hold a robust deliberation ahead of its final passage tomorrow. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And staying with the National Assembly, this time in the Green Chamber, security will top the agenda of the House of Representatives as the 10th Assembly nears its midterm. The Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, made this announcement in his welcome message to members after the Salah and Easter break. Meanwhile, the resumption of plenary today saw a flurry of defections as several lawmakers made their political shifts. Our correspondent Terry Ikumi reports.
Plenary resumes in the House of Representatives after over a month as lawmakers took a break to celebrate the Salah and Easter holidays. The Speaker welcomes members with an outline of the direction the 10th House will take as the middle of the term approaches.
We must also prioritize legislation in areas that impact the lives of all Nigerians, including unemployment, poverty alleviation, fiscal reform, healthcare, education, and security.
This is quickly followed by a gale of defections contained in letters sent to the Speaker. 2 lawmakers from Enugu State defect from the Labour Party to the People's Democratic Party, and 6 lawmakers from Delta State, including the longest-serving member of the House of Representatives, Nicholas Mutu, defect from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressives Congress. All the lawmakers cite division within their parties as a reason for their defection. Afterwards, motions of urgent national importance bordering on security are received.
Worried that the people of Otukpo and its environs, who are largely farmers, can no longer access their farms and grow crops anymore, thus threatening food production and food sufficiency.
The recent fire incident at the Armory of 127 Battalion Giwa Barracks expressed deep concern about the escalating attacks on military formations in Borno and Yobe State.
The ensuing debate points to the need for urgent and different approaches to addressing security across the country.
Let it be on record. They are using armed drones, weaponized drones, which the Nigerian army is not using. In other words, they are more sophisticated and advanced than the Nigerian army. Mr. President must hold Nigerian military strategic commandants and other head of security agencies accountable for negligence of their responsibility. You and I is not safe. No matter how Nigeria respect us, we are moving to a level that Nigerians will fight us the way they fight criminals and the way they fight Boko Haram. Mr. Speaker, we have to think how to create a law that will allow our people to protect themselves, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we just need this thing. Our security personnel are inadequate, Mr. Speaker. They are trying their best, but the problem, Mr. Speaker, they are inadequate and they don't know the terrain of our communities.
The 27th of March killing of 16 northerners traveling from Rivers State to Kanu in Uromi, Edo State is also raised. The House urges the Inspector General of Police and the DG of the DSS to investigate the incident, identify and prosecute the perpetrators. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Away from the National Assembly, a recent survey by an opinion polling and research organization, NOI Polls, has ranked the Nigeria Police, the National Assembly and the judiciary as the most corrupt institutions in Nigeria. The report, an Afrobarometer Round 10 survey conducted by NOI Polls' national partner in Nigeria, notes the majority of citizens are unwilling to report corruption cases for fear of victimization. According to the report, 8 out of 10 respondents say corruption has increased over the past years, while a majority of those who had contact with public services admit to offering gratification.
Among key public institutions, the police are most widely perceived as corrupt. 70% of respondents say most or all police officials are involved in corruption. Majority say the same about parliament. 65% say, while 70% say that most or all police are corrupt, 65% of Nigerians says most or all parliamentarians are corrupt, 52% say that most or all people in the presidency are corrupt, 55% say most or all people in the local government or local government councillors are corrupt, 55% say most or all tax officials are corrupt, and 54% say most or all judges and magistrates are corrupt. Now, these are the key institutions in the country, and we can see the scorecard they have on corruption. The most trusted institution in Nigeria fell outside the core state, and what we have is religious leaders. 58% of citizens of Nigeria trust religious leaders. 56% trust the traditional institutions, traditional leaders, and 50% trust non-governmental organizations.
The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to protecting the personal data of Nigerians from any form of breach. Vice President Kashim Shettima and the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, gave this assurance at the opening of a 3-day conference on data protection in Abuja. Our State House correspondent, Empress Simon, reports.
Regulators, policymakers, industry leaders and stakeholders from across 23 African countries gather in Abuja for the Network of African Data Protection Authorities Conference and Annual General Meeting.
National Commissioner.
The 3-day event is to reaffirm Nigeria's commitment to fostering a data protection landscape that safeguards privacy and enables innovation across Africa.
The Nigerian data protection sector now has a cumulative revenue of over $10 million within the space of 3 years. And the ecosystem has also created about 23,000 jobs, also within the space of 3 years.
Our presence in Abuja serves as a testament to the unity and shared aspiration of Africa. Together, we are committed to advancing towards a trustworthy digital environment that safeguards the privacy of individuals.
The initiative is commended by the international community in Nigeria.
As our digital partner on the continent, we are proud of Nigeria and believe the progress being made here deserves strong recognition.
The Nigerian government also uses the occasion to highlight efforts being made to expand broadband penetration in the country.
We are today committing $2 billion to expand broadband infrastructure by deploying additional 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic networks across the country.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, represented by his Chief of Staff, Senator Ibrahim Adija, says the current government is working to ensure a robust data governance in the country.
Our commitment has not wavered. In 2024, Nigeria signed the Malabo Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection. And just this March, the General Application Implementation Directive of the Nigeria Data Protection Act came into force. What you are witnessing here today, therefore, is not a coincidence.
The Network of African Data Protection Authorities was established in September 2016 in Burkina Faso to unite national data protection authorities and regulatory agencies across Africa. Over the next 3 days, participants will come together to share insights, collaborate, and exchange best practices, aiming to strike a harmonious balance between Africa's technological progress and the safeguarding of fundamental human rights. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, Federal High Court Abuja directs the prosecution of trial of Nnamdi Kanu to ensure all relevant documents and materials for trial are duly served on the defense team before being tendered in court. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Senate establishes 18-member committee to oversee the activities of River State Sole Administrator. House of Representatives asks security agencies to investigate and prosecute those responsible for the death of 16 northern travelers in Uromi, Edo State on March the 27th. Federal High Court Abuja directs the prosecution of the trial of Nnamdi Kanu to ensure all relevant documents and materials for trial are duly served on the defense team before being tendered in court. And Conservative leader Frederick Merz wins a parliament vote to become Germany's next chancellor at the second attempt. We head to the courts now, where Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja has directed the prosecution in the ongoing trial of detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to ensure all relevant documents and materials intended for trial are duly served on the defense team before being tendered in court. Justice Omotosho gave this directive shortly after prosecution witness 2 testified that Mr. Kanu was the operator of Radio Biafra, which operated illegally, and the founder of the Eastern Security Network, the armed wing of IPOB. Our correspondent Emanuela Ekele reports.
The trial of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, resumes at the Federal High Court Abuja, with both parties ready for the day's proceeding.
How are you? Good to see you.
Mr. Kanu arrives and exchanges pleasantries with his loved ones and legal team.
How are you?
At the resumed hearing, the trial continued with the cross-examination of the first prosecution witness, identified as AAA. The witness said he is not aware that the defendant was charged with 15 counts, but that he is aware that Kanu was charged with inciting others to attack members of the police force. Re-examined by lead prosecutor Adegboyega Awomolo, the witness stated that Kanu's activities amounted to agitation for the secession of parts of Nigeria. The second prosecution witness, identified as BBB, an officer with the DSS, testified that he was assigned by the Attorney General of the Federation to investigate Kanu. He described the defendant as the operator of Radio Biafra, which he said operated illegally, and the founder of the Eastern Security Network. Attempts by the prosecution to tender a letter authorizing the witness investigation was resisted by Mr. Gabi, who objected on the grounds that the document was not front-loaded. The prosecution later withdrew the document, and the court granted the withdrawal. The trial also saw disagreements over the admissibility of video evidence presented to the defense. The court ordered that all materials intended for trial must be served in advance and listed properly, stressing that no document will be admitted unless previously disclosed to the defense. On a separate issue, the prosecution said it had filed a motion for the release of certain items already tendered as exhibits, specifically items numbered 1 to 28 and 30 to 39. The court directed that the motion must be refiled, with each exhibit identified and properly referenced. Earlier, Justice Omotosho issued an order barring a sister-in-law to the defendant, Mrs. Favour Kanu, from attending the next 3 court proceedings. The decision of the judge was informed by the conduct of the lady, who engaged in live broadcasts of the court proceedings on her social media platform.
The prosecution realized that they couldn't go on because the documents they wanted to rely on were not served on the defense. And indeed, the court doesn't even have copy. So the court agreed to their suggested adjournment for tomorrow so that the documents will be served on the defense.
Justice James Omotosho subsequently adjourned the case to May 7th for continuation of trial of the second witness. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
The news at 10 continues now in our Abuja studios as we head over there for Terry Kumi to take over. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Anne. We'll go away from the courts now. Some media executives continue with their brainstorming session on innovation and media sustainability in Nigeria as the three-day workshop for chief executive officers of media organizations ends in Abuja. The workshop, which was put together by Channels Academy in partnership with the United States government and JSM Foundation, trained media executives on alternative revenue sources for media organizations.
The last 3 days of the workshop for media executives in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, has been an intense and eye-opening one. The workshop focuses on innovation and sustainability as participants share ideas on alternative revenue generation for the media, beyond conventional sources such as advertisements and sales.
We also started what I call co-created content, and I think we talked a bit about that here. So instead of depending 100% on advertising and circulation revenue, we create content with states. So you co-create content with them, and they pay you up front for a year. Now that takes off a lot of pressure from you.
There are some industrialists in our place where we decided to do what we call a bespoke advertising. We approach, so let's say for instance, we approach MTN and we tell them we are giving you our morning belt from 6 until 12 o'clock. We are not going to advertise any competition, or we are not going to advertise anybody at all. And it has worked fantastically well. We have had 2 industrialists in my state who are funding the morning belt and the evening belt.
Participants also explore existing possibilities to cut down on operational costs and leveraging technology and the social media to grow revenue bases.
I run about 17 stations across Nigeria, and all run 24 hours. How can all run 24 hours if I am relying on agencies' advert or on local revenue? So what we did was we built our digital assets, and then we make money from our digital assets, and these monies are used to run the stations.
The workshop gradually winds down with certificates presented to participants.
Yes. Yours is coming.
Followed by this appeal from the organizers.
It's important that as we wrap up this, we begin to think about what we can do to improve the living standard of our reporters. Because really, if they have nothing to fall back on, if there's nothing in their pocket, you are setting them up for mediocrity.
As you return to your organizations, I'm encouraging each of you to carry forward with the creativity and the boldness that you've shown today. Experiment with the strategies that Stacia and others have shared with you today. I just want to emphasize that, again, the U.S. mission here in Nigeria remains a partner for you.
Some of the participants share their reflections with us.
I came here in search of new ideas, and to plug into what's going on in the business. I've been out of the business for quite a bit, and this has been a very good renewal for me, and gives you a lot of ideas, what to do, alternative funding and all that, and which is what a lot of us need in the industry now.
I think the kind of assemblage of people who came together are very wide experiences, and that's helped us, to review the whole landscape.
It's been very impactful because we've looked at collaboration. We've looked at what we have done in the past years in terms of running the station, running the newsroom. And we have discovered that it's important that we collaborate to improve on our revenue generation, to improve on the management of our personnel, which is the main thing, really.
As this impactful workshop for media CEOs in Abuja comes to a close, attention is now shifted to Lagos, where the training for other sets of media executives will continue.
To politics now. The APC now leads in Edo State House of Assembly with 18 members, as the Speaker of the House, Blessing Agbewaku, on Tuesday dumped the People's Democratic Party for the ruling All Progressives Congress. The Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, who led numerous local government chairmen, councillors, and several notable members of the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, said their action was prompted by the desire to align with Governor Nnamdi Kanu in order to fast-track development across the state. The party's National Secretary, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, who received the defectors on behalf of the national chairman, assured them of equal opportunities within the APC.
There's excitement in the air as the governor of Edo State, Nnamdi Kanu, his deputy, Dennis Idahosa, top government functionaries with APC leaders, faithful and supporters thronged the grounds of the Rokota Hall in Benin City, Edo State capital, for the day's grand event, a rally to receive defectors into the APC.
APC! Okpewolo is the governor. Is Edo shining? Is Edo shining? Phone to the newest member of the party.
When the roll call of new entrants is announced, well-known names, including the Speaker, Edo State House of Assembly, Blessing Agbewaku, along with some other members of the House and former PDP Chairman Ansimo Jeswa, topped the list. Numerous chairmen and councillors of local government councils, among others, also make the list. To formally receive them on behalf of the national chairman of the party is the national secretary of the APC.
I hereby hand over of our party. Unity and progress. Welcome to the APC.
The Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly gives reasons for his defection to the ruling party, to include the positive changes Governor Kanu and his team have introduced since assumption of office.
So, Your Excellency, I want to thank you. We, the members of the House, we have been with you and will continue to with you. We stand by you to support Asiwaju 2027 because this will be a southern agenda. And I'm aware that the PDP governors, they are meeting to also know how they will support their own. Then who am I? So we are here to join the governor to support Asiwaju 2027.
The senator representing Edo North, former Governor Adam Soshomole, believes the fresh entrants will attract to progress as the APC is committed to development.
Those who have joined us didn't join us because they are hungry. They joined us because they have seen what is changing in their communities. So those who want to understand, they will talk about one party state. No, there's only a shared common vision. And if Edo people say this is who we want, who are they to tell us otherwise?
Governor Kanu attributes the developments being recorded to judicious use of revenue accruing to the state from the federal government.
I can't remember that for 8 years, a governor even bought this vehicle for security. Not to talk of chairman. Now chairman is now buying vehicle. If Asiwaju was not releasing that money to me, and I'm not releasing it to them, can they buy it? The oil subsidy that 1 or 2 persons was pocketing, now Asiwaju is throwing it to us to develop the grassroots. So, such a man, how are we going to pay him? Is it not to vote for him?
In all, it was an event filled with optimism about the bright future of the APC in Edo State and continuous progress for the state. Jessica Oluguse, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria rallies support for Nigeria First policy, says it can boost GDP by 56%. That's on Business News. To stay with us. Welcome back to the news at 10. Let's go to Rivers State now. As part of its corporate social responsibility, the West African Container Terminal has broken ground on a 713-meter-long flood drainage project in Onne, designed to reduce the menace of flooding in the community. This is part of the company's efforts to impact one of its host communities. The traditional ruler thanked the WACT for the relationship with the community and urged them to do more.
Officials of the West African Container Terminal gather at Onne in Eleme local government area of Rivers State for the groundbreaking ceremony of the 713-long flood drainage project in the community. In attendance are management staff of the West Africa Container Terminal APM terminals, residents, security agencies, amongst others, who listened to the company's community relations manager explaining how they decided on this project.
We went back to the community and carried out what we call full participatory rural appraisal. We went around. It was in the course of that our journey that we saw this as a need for the community. It was identified by the community, and today we are here with the program begin.
While the managing director of the West Africa Container Terminal APM, Mr. Jetu Jose, highlight the company's commitment to improving the well-being of host communities.
Healthcare is the foundation of every community. A good healthcare system keeps people healthy. But it's not just the investment that PACT is after. We've also promised to maintain it for the next 5 years. For me, the most important milestone is next month, where we inaugurate the plastic recycling plant. It will not just help keep the environment clean, but it will also generate revenue for the community in different solutions, right? That's how we want to build all our programs. My last request, we mentioned we develop the community plan together. My challenge is we go beyond that. Why not just we develop a master plan for the community? A master plan on how Onne will look 10, 15 years from today, right? And then we go to each and every one here and say, this is how we do it. Every year, these are the projects we fix. And we make a nice blueprint and put it out there, right? This is how our community will look 10 years from now. That's the challenge I have for all of us, right? Let's do it together.
Speaking on behalf of the community, the traditional ruler expresses gratitude to the West Africa Container Terminal for the massive project.
You have come to open ground today for purposes of giving us life, good life, healthy life, because we all know the danger of flood in any community. It is my pleasure to be here today and witness the faces that are coming to do this type of human job to us today. It's a remarkable one. We have to keep it on record.
For the company, this move is aimed at reducing the terrible flooding that occurs in the community and part of its ongoing CSR projects for host communities.
Well, that's all from the nation's capital. Let's head back to Lagos now, where Anne continues the rest of this news.
Thank you, Terry. The federal government, in partnership with the Imo State government, has recorded another milestone in the delivery of maternal and child health care with the inauguration of a 100-bed Senator Oluremi Tinubu Mother and Child Center in Awomama General Hospital in Oru West local government area of Imo State. Well, representing Nigeria's First Lady, the wife of the Vice President, Nana Shatima, describes the facility as a testament to the Tinubu-led administration's commitment to quality health care for all Nigerians. Our Imo State correspondent, Eitope Kuteyi, reports.
A warm welcome as top government dignitaries, healthcare workers, and residents of Imo State converge for the official unveiling of a modern maternal and child healthcare facility named in honor of the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. The ceremony kicks off with the arrival of Governor Hope Uzodinma, his wife Chioma Uzodinma, and the wife of the Vice President, Nana Shatima, who is here on behalf of the First Lady. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Adejoke Orelope Adefolire, takes the spotlight as she outlines the key features of the new facility designed to provide accessible, high-quality care for mothers and children.
This hospital, 100 beds,
Mother and Child Hospital is equipped with state-of-the-art facility. They are, among others, we have operation theaters, we have recovery room, private and general ward, scanning room, consultation room, laboratory, ultrasound machine, vacuum extractor, delivery set, emergency card with full complement.
Wife of the Imo State Governor, Chioma Uzodinma, expresses heartfelt appreciation to the federal government for the intervention.
Through the Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, our First Lady has shown extraordinary dedication to reducing maternal and child mortality, ensuring that no woman loses her life in the process of giving birth. For this transformative project, which complements the ongoing efforts of the state government.
Governor Hope Uzodinma commends the strong partnership between the state and federal government, describing the newly commissioned center as a reflection of the sweeping healthcare reforms currently underway in Imo State.
The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has provided this vital facility, which is designated specifically for the benefit of women and children in our state. Your presence here, representing the First Lady of Nigeria, reinforces our confidence in an administration that is genuinely committed to the well-being of Nigerians.
To God be the glory and for the benefit of humanity.
Representing the First Lady, the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Nana Shettima, says the project underscores the federal government's unwavering commitment to boosting maternal health care across the nation.
We must continue to emphasize the vital importance of maternal health care in building a healthier society. I therefore urge our women and members of this community to take this advantage of the services available at this mother and child center.
Residents of the community welcomed the new facility with open arms, describing it as a beacon of hope that promised to transform healthcare access for women and children in the area. The official commissioning of this 100-bed mother and child center within the premises of the Awu Mama General Hospital in Oru West local government area of Imo State is a major step towards giving women and children better access to quality healthcare. It also supports the Sustainable Development Goals number 3, good health and well-being, which focuses on ensuring healthy living and promoting well-being for all at all ages. Channels Television News.
Let's delve into the world of business now and find out the latest in the manufacturing sector in Nigeria. Willie Bong is standing by.
Thank you, Anne. Now, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has commended the federal government's Nigeria First policy, which prioritizes locally made goods and services. MAN's Director General, Mr. Segun Ajayi-Kadir, sees it as a key step to boost local industries, economic growth, and job creation. Mr. Ajayi-Kadir notes that proper implementation could raise GDP by 56% and reduce unemployment by 37%. He emphasizes the need for collaboration between government, the private sector, and individuals to ensure success. The association urges government agencies, especially the military and police, to lead by example by prioritizing made in Nigeria products in procurement, boosting consumer confidence in local goods. Now, Nigeria's aviation minister, Mr. Festus Keyamo, has met with Brazilian aircraft manufacturer Embraer to seek support for local airlines and strengthen Nigeria's aviation sector. The visit also aims to establish a direct air link between Nigeria and South America, as well as deepen trade and diplomatic ties. In a statement, the ministry says talks focused on access to modern aircraft, better leasing terms, and connecting Nigerian airlines with global financiers. Keyamo says the goal is to equip operators with the tools needed for growth and expansion.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, please, Zoma.
That's the sound of the closing gong rung today at the Nigerian Exchange, marking a tribute to the late Dr. Pascal Dozier. Dr. Pascal Dozier, a Nigerian entrepreneur and businessman, was the founder and CEO of Diamond Bank. He also served as the president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange at one point in his illustrious career. The special closing gong ceremony held in his honor featured tributes and reflections on his remarkable career, achievements, and his lasting impact on the Nigerian exchange group and the broader financial sector. Now, staying at the stock market, let's see how things ended there. We see second trading day very bullish as gains in Nestle lifted the all-share index by over 1.5%. Ladi Williams tells us more.
Well, it's another day, another Naira, and the bulls are dominating activity this week for the first 2 trading days. And we see right there, taking the all-share index to a level last seen 20th of February, that was 2025, up 1.56%. And we see we're up by 361 points in that 108 level, 68.105 trillion. That's the market cap. For the sectors we track now, they're on fire today, with the banking counter, joining the party. GTCO recovering from the loss yesterday on most of the tier 1 banks. We see the consumer goods counter, they're adding 1.75%, with the likes of Nestle and Nigeria Breweries adding to their share price. Then oil and gas there taking a shine with a big 2.97%. We see Ardell adding to its share price. Well, fingers crossed with the all-share index, will it get back to the 109,000 high? We'll definitely find out.
And that's business news. And it's back to you.
Thank you, Will. Outside our shores, Conservative leader Frederick Merz has won a parliament vote to become the country's next chancellor at the second attempt. Merz had initially fallen 6 votes short of the absolute majority he needed on Tuesday, which was a significant blow to his prestige and an unprecedented failure in post-war German history. Hey, Simon Pusey with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Friedrich Merz did not reach the necessary majority, 316, according to...
Germany's Conservative leader has unexpectedly fallen short of a majority in a parliament vote to become chancellor.
A bombshell has just dropped in the German parliament. Friedrich Merz, whom you see in the center of your screen...
Friedrich Merz needed 316 votes in the 630-seat Bundestag, but only secured 310 in a significant blow to the Christian Democrat leader 2.5 months after winning Germany's federal elections. His coalition with the centre-left has enough seats in parliament, but it appears 18 MPs who had been expected to back him dissented. Merz's failure in the first vote is seen as unprecedented in modern German history. The Bundestag will now have another 14 days to choose either Merz or another candidate as chancellor with more than half of its members. The Kremlin insists it's still planning a 3-day ceasefire after both sides launched strikes which killed civilians overnight. Russia says Ukraine launched a drone attack on the Russian capital, causing Moscow's 4 airports to shut for a few hours on Tuesday amid the barrage. Moscow is due to hold a parade on the 9th of May to mark the victory of the Soviet Union and allies over Nazi Germany. This year is the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II and will see world leaders, including China's Xi Jinping, in Russia for the event. Putin has called for a 3-day-long ceasefire from the 8th of May, something Ukraine has not committed to, with Kyiv wanting a longer truce. A senior Hamas official has said there is no point in further talks on a new Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal after Israel approved an expanded offensive that may include seizing all of the Palestinian territory indefinitely.
Unfortunately, we have signed a deal.
Bassem Naim said the armed group would not engage with new proposals. while Israel continued what he called its starvation war. On Monday, the Israeli military said the aim of the wide-scale operation was the return of hostages held by Hamas and its decisive defeat. Israeli officials said it would involve capturing Gaza, displacing the majority of its population and taking control of aid after a 2-month blockade the UN says has caused severe food shortages. Sudan's electricity provider has said drone strikes have hit a major power station in the Sudanese city of Port Sudan, causing a complete power outage. Thick black plumes of smoke could be seen at dawn on the skyline of the previously safe city, where thousands of people fleeing the 2-year civil war have sought refuge. Explosions and huge fires have been reported near the city's main international airport as a paramilitary force targeted the key city for the 3rd consecutive day. Flights have been cancelled after drones hit the international airport and a hotel near the current presidential palace. Deliveroo, the UK food delivery app, has agreed to be taken over by the US giant DoorDash in a deal valuing the business at £2.9 billion. The combined company will have a presence in more than 40 countries, serving about 50 million customers per month. The tie-up is also expected to provide fierce competition to rivals Just Eat and Uber Eats in the UK. However, the deal is the latest example of a UK-listed company being taken over by a US firm, fueling further concerns over UK investment. Rebecca Vardy has agreed to pay almost £1.2 million of Colleen Rooney's legal costs following their libel battle. Mrs. Rooney ran up a legal bill totalling more than £1.8 million while successfully defending herself against Mrs. Vardy's High Court claim in 2022. After Mrs. Vardy lost the libel case, the judge ordered her to pay 90% of Mrs. Rooney's costs, approximately £1.62 million.
I found my old phone today, so full of love, yet so full of hate.
And a video showing Ed Sheeran performing an intimate gig at a pub in his home county has gone viral. The Thomas Wolsey in Ipswich Town Centre was rebranded as the Old Phone, the title of his latest track. Footage showed fans gathered outside singing along, hoping to catch a glimpse of the singer. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. The Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, is hosting more than 2,000 promising young athletes from across Nigeria in the grand finale of the Season 3 of the MTN Champs, which runs till Friday, May 9th. According to MTN Nigeria, the event marks the culmination of a national series that has emerged as the country's biggest secondary school athletics competition.
How's the 10 best?
It's a media briefing to wrap up the MTN Champ Season 3 with a grand finale at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Officials of MTN Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State government, and Making of Champions gathered to unveil plans for the Intercollegiate Athletics Tournament, which reaches its home stretch. The goal for MTN Champs remains discovering top talent that will represent Nigeria at international competitions.
The dream of having Nigeria on the world stage is a strong vision that we all should join to accomplish. 2 seasons ago, precisely in 2023, the MTN Champs dream was born. And over time, we've had over 15,000 athletes across 900 schools, starting from cadets level under 14 age group, participating in this event.
The reality is just a couple of them will perhaps make it to professional sport. We know that as a company, but we want to be able to give them this opportunity to compete, to let that fire, that desire to want to run, throw, jump at the very latest, at the very starting level, to be able to give them that opportunity. And this is what we're doing with MTN Champs. So as we get to Season 3, it's not just MTN Champs, it's not just an idea, it's already become a movement. I can tell you this for free.
The Akwa Ibom State government commends MTN's initiatives and promises to set up Sports Academy to groom talent.
I really want to thank MTN and the MOC for what they are doing and taking it a step further. Let me also use the opportunity to say that the Pastor Omona administration is also planning a state-of-the-art sports academy. In line with what MTN is doing and the MOC is doing, because it's not only enough to discover those talents, they must be nurtured. And you must give them the benefit of education. Because whether you like it or not, after 10 years, after 12 years, whether you like it or not, sports will leave you. But it is that education that will sustain you.
Since inception in 2023, MTN Champs has attracted more than 15,000 athletes from 900 schools across Nigeria.
Ogun State Governor Dakpo Abiodun has assured that the upcoming National Sports Festival will be a reference point in the history of the country. The National Sports Festival, tagged Ogun Gateway Games, is scheduled to hold from May 16 to 30th at the MK Abiola Sports Complex in Abeokuta. While seeking the support and cooperation for the success of the sports festival, Governor Abiodun reaffirmed the readiness of the state to stage the multi-sports event. And Inter Milan denied Barcelona a first Champions League final appearance in 10 years as David Freitas' extra-time winner secured a dramatic 4-3 semi-final second-leg victory at the San Siro and 7-6 aggregate success. And that sport is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. The Senate today established an 18-member committee to oversee activities of Rivers State Sole Administrator. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, made this announcement today at the resumption of plenary. Also today, the House of Representatives has asked security agencies to investigate and prosecute those responsible for the death of 16 northern travelers in Uromi, Edo State on March 27th, and this was part of the resolutions of the House after resumption of plenary. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Good night and stay safe.